Alonso came up close to the end of Schumacher's dominance, and he beat Schumacher twice. But one year when he won, he Raikkonen was close to him, but he beat Raikkonen. So Raikkonen was rising up. So this is an era when Alonso and Raikkonen were now very fast. Schumacher was at the tail end, and things went very well for Alonso. Very young, prodigious, youngest to ever win a race, youngest to win the championship, and things went pretty well for him. His second championship was close. Schumacher made a mistake during the last race, no, during the penultimate race, and lost a lot of points, which gave the championship to Alonso. Alonso probably would have still won it, but it went down to the wire. But it was basically sort of like when Lewis Hamilton was dethroned by Verstappen. Alonso was the next one. But it's amazing that for someone who's only won two championships, I would say that Alonso, along with Hamilton, deserves to be mentioned along with guys like Verstappen and then Schumacher and Senna as the greatest of our era. I'm not going to talk about Lauda and those guys, but let's just talk about the contemporary F1. Alonso has the same level of honor and status as Hamilton, and is right there in the argument with the best, which with Schumacher and Senna. But it's just that he hasn't had the titles, but he has bad timing. Like you're winning with Renault, and then you go to McLaren. He said, "I wanted to go to McLaren because I wanted a new title." So I think Alonso's a sort of poetic person who does. There's no reason, rhyme or reason to some of the things he does, like leaving. It's more poetic. So I wanted to go to McLaren where I would be wanted. And maybe he's young. He's 20 something. He thinks, well, I won with Renault twice. I can win anywhere. So McLaren, I think they had a lot of money, and it was clear that in a couple of years they would be the powerhouse. So he made that jump, but that might have cost him at least one more championship. And then also he might have jumped off of the ship with Ferrari too soon also. So I think this guy should have about 5 or 6 championships, and he's very good. What do you think, Larato? Yeah.
Yeah, no, man. Yeah, I mean, those two seasons for Fernando were great. The
Yeah.
2005 and 2006. As the youngest person on like
Yeah.
win the championship.
And then
Yeah. And I think there was all that drama around it being Schumacher's last
oh
season,
yeah.
last two seasons before
Yeah.
his first retirement. Of course, he came back with Mercedes and things like that later. But that
Yeah.
was like there was like that emotional thing of Schumacher having to try and win another championship, but up against like really young racers, like you mentioned, Kimi Räikkönen being up
Yeah.
there in the fight as well,
Yeah.
in spite of the challenges. And I think interestingly, um, and this is why I think Fernando would have moved from Renault to McLaren, because McLaren had the fastest car at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
And Raikkonen
with-
was there. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
But then,
They
but
had
then
the
it's funny that but
fastest
then
car.
Raikkonen jumped to Ferrari. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I think what I don't know why he did not think about all these problems of reliability
Hmm.
um, that McLaren had been suffering
Yeah.
with failed engines. I think
Yeah.
I can't remember how many 10 position penalties that Kimi. I think he had 4 or something in
Yeah.
that season
So basically,
because he.
Ferrari did what Toto Wolff wants to do. They were like, "Oh, not Ferrari, McLaren. We want you, Alonso. You're out of here, Raikkonen. Raikkonen is out of McLaren." And then nobody
Yeah,
thought that Lewis Hamilton would blindside Alonso. So it does make sense for Alonso because Alonso is like, uh, without Raikkonen, McLaren can't win, and McLaren is almost just as good as Renault, and they're probably faster. So let me jump to the fastest car, and Raikkonen is not going to go to Renault. He's going to go
sure, sure.
to Ferrari, which it doesn't
So
matter
yeah,
because Schumacher's got. So it's just bad timing. He didn't realize that Hamilton. So Hamilton is what spoiled his chance because he probably would have won a championship with McLaren if Hamilton hadn't been there. Not
if
probably, he
Hamilton,
definitely would have won.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If Hamilton hadn't been there,
Yeah. So,
and of course
but
the championships um, were actually a lot tighter amongst a lot of racers because of
yeah,
that point system that worked at the time, where I think
yeah,
there
we're
were
closer.
only
Yeah,
10,
yeah,
10 points or something like that. So you would see sort of like a shift in the championship on a race by race
Oh, that was
basis.
crazy. It was
I
very
think,
panicky. It was
yeah,
terrible
yeah,
during the
I think,
season because
yeah, even,
your favorite driver is always in danger of losing their position.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So even when Renault won their second constructors championship and championship with Fernando, um, they won it on the last race in China,
Hmm.
with McLaren being very, very close. It's just that they had I think they had a crash or something,
Yeah.
uh, that spoiled their race.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, interesting
And
kind of like
he lost very close one or two, no, at least one, but probably two close championships to Vettel too when Red Bull was on the rise, and I mean it was very close. So he's had bad luck, but I think that's why we shouldn't just talk about wins because on the grid right now we know that Verstappen, Alonso, Hamilton, you put these guys can win if they're in the best car. We know that about those three drivers. They can win if they're in the best car. That's how good they are. What do you think,
yeah,
Falabi? And then we'll go back to Lorato on that point too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. If you look at Alonso and the Renault R26, as at
Mhm.
that time, the Renault R26 was very innovative, was a technical marvel. It had superior aerodynamics compared to the other engines, and then it was powered by Michelin tires as well. So it was able to extract the maximum performance from this car. And it was part of why he dominated really so much in the 2006 competition. His racecraft and intelligence in 2006 belie his tender years. If you look at him, was driving like someone that was so experienced.
Oh yeah, way beyond his years, man. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when
Like a wise one. He's a wise one.
yes,
You're
and
born
then
with it.
and then he was noted for his lightning starts. At the
Yeah.
beginning, there was this mass damper system that Renault put in front of their car
Oh
that
yeah, I
helped
remember
them.
they had that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It may
yeah,
have been made illegal later. No.
yeah. It
Yeah.
helped them to take off very quickly, and it
Yeah.
maximized their stats. So
Yeah.
it was a great driver, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think, Lorato, about what we're saying about his places? He's right up there with discussion of the GOAT. There's only fine margins separating these guys. Yeah, go ahead, Lorato.
Sorry,
no,
hi
for
guys, just
sure.
got it. Just letting you
Oh
know.
yeah, no problem. We'll get to you afterwards. What are your thoughts,
Yeah,
Lorato?
man. So yeah, I think the margins are really fine, but I count him there as one of the best drivers we've seen on the grid,
Oh yeah,
uh,
ever.
for
Yeah.
for this period that he's been racing, like
Yeah.
20
And that's
years
why
now.
yeah, and he's with a good team. He hasn't lost his quickness. So if he can hold on for another 3 years, you might see him win a championship with Aston Martin. Just like next year might be Hamilton's time to win if Ferrari's gamble pays off and Hamilton can beat Leclerc, which is because to me between Hamilton and Leclerc is almost 50-50.